Welcome to Off-Site, an ongoing video series that explores temporary exhibitions at the Fred Jones Jr. Museum of Art at the University of Oklahoma. My name is Mark White, and I will be your host for this particular video series on our fall 2016 exhibition, Picturing Indian Territory, 1819 to 1907. The exhibition offers a survey of the visual culture that helped to define the Indian and Oklahoma territories for 19th century audiences. Over the course of this series, we will speak with key individuals and visit sites significant to the rich histories of the territories and explore how those histories helped to define the state of Oklahoma. In the previous episode, we visited Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. In today's installment, we visit Fort Washita near Madill, Oklahoma, to explore the ruins and rich history of one of the oldest and most important military installations in Indian Territory. Following the removal of the Choctaw and Chickasaw to Indian Territory in the 1830s, the two nations requested that the American military provide greater security as they worked towards the development of their new homeland. In 1842, General Zachary Taylor issued an order providing for the creation of a fort located near the Washita and Red Rivers on a historic road known then as the Texas Road. Taylor is represented at center in a painting of the 1843 International Indian Council by artist John McStanley, a meeting convened to ease tensions between tribes recently relocated and those native to the region. Fort Washita would become the most southwestern American military installation during the 1840s, and it served as a stop for American troops during the Mexican-American War. At one time, it housed close to 2,000 troops during the Mexican-American War. With the conclusion of that war, and with the gold strikes in California, it would become an important stop on the California Road. Hard winters on northern trails, as well as an outbreak of cholera, encouraged many hopeful settlers and prospectors to take the southern route, and the land surrounding the fort sheltered migrants on their way west. Fort Washita received improvements in 1849 when the original log barracks were replaced by limestone, the remains of which still dominate the landscape. Artillery was not common to forts on the frontier, but Fort Washita had two batteries, including two companies of the 2nd Artillery Regiment, made famous at the Battle of Buena Vista during the Mexican-American War. The Civil War ultimately led to the decline of Fort Washita. After the Confederate victory at Fort Sumner, the Union Army abandoned the fort in May 1861, only to be taken by Confederate forces from Texas the next day. The Confederacy in Indian Territory used the fort principally as a supply station and hospital, and it eventually became the command for Brigadier General Douglas H. Cooper. Cooper led Confederate forces in several military engagements, including the largest confrontation in Indian Territory, the Battle of Honey Springs. Although the 1863 battle ended as a Union victory, Cooper became commander of the District of Indian Territory just a few years later. Cooper remained at the fort at the conclusion of the war, and his log cabin still resides on the grounds. The U.S. government was uninterested in reviving the fort and gave the buildings and the grounds to the Chickasaws after the Civil War. The prominent Colbert family of the Chickasaw Nation owned the property until 1962, when the installation was given to the Oklahoma Historical Society. The cemetery still houses the graves of the family, though most military graves were transferred to Fort Gibson.